Alrighty, one second. Alrighty, bada bing, bada boom. One page, there it is. No, I'm just kidding. So thank you everyone for the really kind words. I really do appreciate it, especially taking your time out of your Saturday to hear what I have to say and hear my spiel about why I want to run for or why I want to be your next city council member. Oh wait, what the heck? Oh, there's. So first off, who am I? So I've lived in Hercules since I was 6 years old. I moved here in 2002 during in February. You know, it's funny. I used to come to Hercules a lot when I was a kid because I went to school in Richmond and I lived in Hilltop, and most of my friends lived in Hercules. And in fact, up until this point, that's still the case. So I've been coming in and out of the city ever since I was a little kid. And my first interest in politics sparked when I was 5 years old. My dad was the fire marshal of Oakland before he passed away, and he took me to a city council meeting. At 5 years old, I remember just being up late and sitting in the Oakland City Council chambers, wondering why is everybody so upset. And when I look back on that now, I realize that was public comment. And then from there, my interest in politics just kept going. When I was 10 years old, that's when President Obama was running for office as president. And I would come home from school, and every single day, my mom would have CNN on following that election. I didn't realize it at the moment, but it had a huge impact on me. I think I was probably the only 11-year-old who knew who Mitch McConnell was and knew who people like Newt Gingrich and Paul Ryan. I remember talking about them in my fifth grade class to Miss Nam, really upset about it. Um, and then so from there, when I was 13, I volunteered for my first campaign, and it was Governor Brown's 2010 campaign. So I was marching up and down the streets of Richmond, handing out flyers for him. And then from there, I just remained active up until this point. So aside from politics, and I'm going to go back to that in a little bit, I served in the California National Guard. I'm a military police officer, but that's not my primary job. My primary job is emergency management. So back in 2018, I was activated and sent up to the campfire in Paradise for a little bit. And I will tell you, that was one of the most life-changing experiences ever. It really opened my eyes up to some of the issues that we're still dealing with currently, and that we're seeing the effects of at this moment. But most importantly, when I was up there, it really showed how much people can come together during some really bad times. And, you know, tragedies do bring people together. But in that experience, and then the different activations that I've had since then, it's made me more excited to want to serve people and be there for others. Because I'll tell you right now, talking to someone who's lost absolutely everything and to see them smile when you've helped them out really changed my life. And then to move on to that, I've served in various leadership positions. When I was 19, Governor Brown appointed me to the state's community college board, the California Community Colleges Board of Governors. Try saying that 5 times fast. And in that capacity, I represented 2.3 million students and helped govern the largest. Right behind. And I believe that's Dion. I think you're unmuted. All righty. And then so when I was on the Board of Governors in 2020, Governor Brown sent us a letter right before he left, and right before he termed out, I should say. And he said, I want an online college. So we had a year to come up with a completely 100% online community college. And I'm proud to be one of the founding members of Calbright College, which is the nation's first 100% online community college. And what Calbright's goal is to do is to serve people who are like in the middle of their career and need to advance. So get a certificate, get a class that they need to move on to the next level. I'll move on to the next slide. And while I was serving on the California Community College Board of Governors and on Calbright College's Board of Trustees, I also was a student body president at Contra Costa College. I served in 2 other positions, well, 3 actually. I was the president of Community Organizing and Political Action, which is the politics club on campus. And I also served as a student body vice president, as well as being a senator. And in my time as president, I will say that it was pretty fun. We were able to do a lot. Under my 2 terms, we were able to get the first free breakfast program running, bus pass and school supplies programs up and going. So it was really great to see the impact of what a student government can have, because Contra Costa is a very interesting college because the majority of the people that you will run into on that campus are low income. And to have the opportunity to help them out is something I'll never forget. And so people have always asked, well, what have you done for work? And I've worked in various industries, mostly relating to politics and children. I worked in the office of Congressman Mark DeSaulnier for a while, helping people sign up for federal programs. And in that experience, I will tell you, you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn about a lot about people. You know, hearing people put so much comfort and confide personal information with you just because you work somewhere. It is a heavy thing that weighs on you, but it's really rewarding when you do know that you've helped somebody out. And obviously this was before COVID. So seeing that old lady who took 2 hours out of her day to come out there just because she needed some help with her Social Security, being able to help them out, like I said before, was really life-changing. In addition to that, I was a staffer for the Richmond City Council for a while. That was probably the most interesting job I've ever worked. Tuesday nights when the city council meetings would be going on, I'd be doing the agenda and taking minutes. And, you know, once again, seeing the wheels of government at work is something that's so inspiring and motivating to me. And I really just always take the time to reflect on that experience and think about how can government help people, which is sort of why I'm here today. And even in the private sector, I worked for a government affairs firm in San Francisco, excuse me, working on housing policy in the Central Valley. And so that's given me an understanding of so many different issues that we have right here in California, such as the lack of housing, income inequality, and who can even have access to housing. I really like kids. I've worked with kindergartners, I've worked with first graders through third graders, and currently I work as a counselor to autistic children. So I work with autistic children 5 days out of the week. And, you know, I took that job because I really like kids and I wanted a new challenge. And through the other jobs that I've worked, you see a lot of holes in different places that really need to be addressed, especially right now with COVID. Kids who are able-bodied are in a better position than kids who aren't, and especially kids without special needs are even in a better position. And you'll see a little bit later why I think that it's important that we bring the schools, 2 school districts together and collaborate so we can close some of these equity gaps. And on top of all that, I do a lot of anti-gun violence legislation. So one of the bills, well, several right now on the governor's desk, most notably the one that I helped write, I'd say 90% of, AB 2617 is on the governor's desk. So if you need a bill to call Sacramento on, that's the perfect one. Please do. All right, moving on. So why am I running? I care about my hometown. You know, I've lived in Hercules, like I said, since I was a little kid. So it's really the only place I've ever known. You know, most of my friends live here. The majority of my memories are here. And so I want to give back. I care about the families, the seniors, the kids, young adults, and everyone here. You know, right now, what COVID has done is shown us ways that we can improve. I don't want to say miscalculations or missteps, but certainly things that we can tighten up on. And I think right now, with so many things being shined to light, that we have the opportunity to try to address them because people are willing to do so. I see it all the time. I want to move Hercules in a positive and progressive direction. You know, I want families to be comfortable here, and I want to give more of a reason to keep young people like myself here. Because, like I said, I grew up here, and I will tell you right now, you know, growing up here, it was nice when the sun went down, your neighborhood went down, but there wasn't much here. And I think that we can change some of the things about Hercules to make it better and more accommodating for others. And, you know, with the different work experiences that I have, I want to bring that to the city council. I want to bring the perspective of someone who knows how to work with autistic children, who knows how to deal with seniors, and who has been there writing legislation both in Sacramento on the Board of Governors and helping the city council back in Richmond write their legislation. I've helped people sign up for Medicare. I've helped autistic children learn their address. You know, so I want to take all that, what I've learned, and with a combination of using experience from people who are still in the community and bringing everyone to the table, because I think that the best ideas we can have is when we're all come together and you have various groups, because I know that I'm not perfect and I know that I'm still human, and that's why I value so many others' opinions. So thank you all for being here. I'm not done yet, but if elected, I'd love to keep you in that conversation about helping me out. So my plan, financial stability. So we need to diversify our revenue sources. What COVID has shown us is that, like I said earlier, there are some things that we can do better. If we can increase our overall revenue through different streams, then I think that we can better plan for situations sort of like COVID or the next big recession. So that way certain programs don't need to be cut. And we can make sure that we don't have to necessarily rely on grants or one-time monies to keep us afloat. So for example, with our police officers, one of my biggest concerns is having enough staffing for that and having pay that keeps the city competitive to work in. Because the beauty about Hercules PD is that a lot of these guys have been here for years. So they see some value in this place. And I know that, you know, especially right now with the times that we're in, law enforcement isn't the ideal job. And there's a lot of scrutiny that goes along with it. That's rightfully so. And I think if we diversify our revenue sources and we can keep things like the police department afloat, and we can adequately staff our police department, we can keep them here and at the same time make sure that our city stays afloat. Because I don't want something else to happen. You know, COVID's finally over, but we have the next big recession again, and programs have to be cut that are vital to the community. I mean, we've seen it with the library. You know, how much of the equity gap closes the library is. We can't risk some of these things. In addition to that, I want to advocate for our youth. And what does that look like to me? Said, you know, I want to collaborate with the Johnson Wales Unified School District and the West County School District. I know that those are two different agencies, two different jurisdictions, but I do believe that we can close some equity gaps. And the beauty of where we live is we're right by San Francisco, and we're right by Oakland, and we're right by Sacramento. So we have some partners that we can work with to try to close some of these equity gaps. Like I said, I work with autistic children, and I've seen how COVID has impacted some of these kids. Some of the kids I work with still don't have access to Wi-Fi, and they can't do their work, on top of being children with special needs. Now, if you add that with some parents who aren't even at home to help some of these kids, you know, you're creating problems that, quite frankly, we've never had to deal with in the past. So if we bring those people together, we bring all the stakeholders together and have a conversation and a dialogue, I think we can make some progress. And, you know, I once upon a time was that kid at Ohlone Elementary, Hercules Middle School, and Hercules High School. So those kids' futures really mean the most to me. And I will tell you right now, as a young adult transitioning, it's not easy. And I know that it's going to get more difficult. And if we provide resources and we make sure that when these kids and these young adults graduate from our schools and even John Sweat schools, that they're better prepared to tackle the world that's going to come ahead of that's coming ahead of them. Along with that, I want to advocate for our seniors. So I worked with seniors in San Pablo for a little over a year, and it was an experience kind of like autistic children. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, quite frankly.
Oh, Alex, we lost you again.
I've heard sometimes when that starts happening, the person can sign off and then sign on and get a better connection.
Can you guys hear me?
Or drop their video. Sometimes it's just a strain with the video. Maybe just do audio and see if that works better.
Right. Or just sign on again, either one.
Okay, hopefully this helps. I apologize. Zoom has been going so well for the past 2 weeks, and then just today, wow, just kind of conking out on me. But back to advocating for our seniors. You know, there's a bunch of organizations around here, and they're primarily in Richmond and the greater East Bay, that want to help out seniors. And I think right now is a perfect opportunity to try to address some of those problems, like getting their prescriptions, getting groceries, and other necessities. And this ties back into another plan of mine, because working with the seniors in San Pablo, like I said, has really allowed me to see other problems that I think that we can address here in Hercules, because Hercules is a nice city, but I do think about people who are not like me, who can't run 2 miles in 14 minutes and need a little help getting around and need some help just getting access to day-to-day things. And if we do that, I think we can really make a lot more people happy and really just overall push for our city. And then moving on, support a local economy. This is where I want to work with Sylvia. We work with the Bayfront Chamber of Commerce to collaborate and showcase the businesses here in Hercules, because having grown up in the city, I can't tell you how many times I've had to explain where it is. And if I have to explain where it is, I can only imagine what it's like for the businesses, especially the small businesses that you would have to know something on Yelp or hear through word of mouth about. And if we work to have an online marketing strategy with the city's website and the Bayfront Chamber of Commerce to let people know what's here, I think, one, we can generate more revenue, and we can make sure that some of these businesses are still around. I remember that there was a candy shop here, Jack's Candy Bag. It was kind of over by Big Lots. They used to sell skateboards. That was the main reason why I was there, to be honest with you. And the guy told me the biggest reason why he couldn't make sales was because no one knew where Hercules was. He would try to reach out, and people would always tell him, well, where's Hercules? And I think that if we work and market ourselves a little bit better, I'm not saying necessarily start getting all crazy shops coming in to get into Hercules, but we showcase what's here, we can give people a reason to come and want to shop here. And then lastly, I want to establish an MOU between Lucky's and Safeway to protect their workers. I remember when I first heard of the Safeway coming up, I was a little concerned, to be quite honest with you, because I thought about if one of them goes under the tank. You know, say Lucky's is just holding on by a thread and they got to close their doors. I want to make sure that the workers there can transfer over seamlessly and vice versa. So that way we can protect people and their families, especially right now, because it's really hard to find a job. And I can only imagine the difficulty this would bring families if one of them were to close down. And so moving on. Once again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. This hasn't happened, but it just is what it is. I also want to connect Hercules to the North Bay. And I want to partner with the Soul Trans, Divine, and BART. One, to get cars off the road and ease up traffic on the freeways. But at the same time, build a bridge to Hercules, because I think that, yes, with the Intermodal Transit Center and all the new development that's coming to Hercules, we will have an opportunity to see some, like I said, connecting Hercules to the North Bay. The Soul Transit Divine already passes through Hercules. And I think that if we can just have even one stop here, because I've met people who commute to the North Bay via public transportation because they don't have a car, whatever the reason may be. If you wanted to go from, say, Hercules to Vallejo, you have to take a bus from Hercules to El Cerrito to Vallejo, despite that bus already passing through your city. I think that's where we can have that collaboration, so that way we can, like I said, get traffic up, get cars off the road, make sure that we have some better air to breathe, and at the same time open up new opportunities for people to come explore Hercules. Because if we have people who are hopping off buses coming trying to figure out what to eat when they're here coming from lunch, or coming from work, or even in the morning going to work, we can help out the businesses that are here and then give Hercules a little bit more of a reputation to come shopping, eating, whatever else people may want to do here. The environment is really big. It's something that I really care about. And I really care about Hercules' green spaces. I have a lot of family that comes in and out of Hercules from different parts of the country anytime that they would come through here. They always noted Highway 4. I don't know why they would take Highway 4 to come to Hercules, but they always admired the rolling hills. And that's why I said we need to protect our green spaces and we need to protect the wildlife that are here. I've noticed that a lot of animals are kind of in distress now. I don't know about other people. But I am seeing a lot more deers running around, and I am seeing a lot more animals that are going to be displaced. And I think if we prioritize our green spaces, one, it just makes the city look a lot nicer. And at the same time, we're giving the animals a home. And another reason for people to want to look at Hercules, because if all you see is cement and houses, I will be honest with you, it does take away from the natural beauty. And I think with the rolling hills and the trees that we have and the native wildlife that you see running around, I think that that's something that needs to be protected and definitely prioritized. And lastly, for what I want to do is public safety. And that's kind of vague, but one of the major things that I think is so important right now is we need to have a safety plan for the next major disaster. So I want to work with the fire board, so Charlie, when you win, and the police department and the different agencies that will be coming through Hercules to help us out, such as Cal OES, Cal Fire, Contra Costa County Fire, Sheriff's Department, CHP, to understand where are our weak points. Like I said, most of my time in the military has been spent doing emergency management, and being at the campfire and the different activations that I've had. I will tell you, there are some things that I think that we can definitely improve on, and some scenarios that I think that we should run if need be, because Hercules has been kind of lucky that nothing has happened, but we've seen that fires are taking over literally right up the road, down the road, any direction there's been something. And I think the more rapidly we get on this, the better prepared we can be for if and when something happens. I will tell you, my biggest fear right now at Hercules is an earthquake that's strong enough to take out 80, especially over by Jack in the Box. And I think about the people, like the children who are going to be at school if something like that happens, and how are they going to be okay? And the seniors who are in their homes, how can we make sure that people are evacuated and safe? And given recent situations throughout this nation, and even just in the past, I think now more than ever, we need to just establish an advisory committee to the chief of police, and we need to establish a police commission. I think that with that, we can definitely have some input from residents and improve our police departments. Because growing up, I have a lot of respect for Hercules PD, but growing up, it was not always the same. Most of my negative interactions with law enforcement was always at the hands of Hercules. And that's not to say or discredit our police department, but I will say that there are some problems right now that I think that we can address. I'm not going to go into detail about what happened, but I do think that if we have better citizens' input and give a different perspective, then Hercules can improve. Because if you read online, and I would just tell you, most people my age, if they think of Hercules, they tend to hear Hercules PD, and it's usually a never good association. And I want to prove that, and I want to improve that. We have a lot of dedicated officers, such as Officer Sanchez and a variety of other people who really do care about this community, and I don't want them to be overshadowed. Yet at the same time, we do have injustice in this world, and I want to make sure that all of those issues are addressed, and I think that that's the best way to do it. And then screen froze, but what in tarnation? The big ask. So this is a team effort. So how can you help? So this can't be done without people like you. We need people to sign wave. We need people to phone bank, canvas, and donate. I'm always on my phone, so you can always call me, you can always text me, and you can even email me. I prefer texting and calling, but that's my email right there, alex4hercules@gmail.com, and that's my phone number, 510-367-2958. If you want to volunteer, please let me know. Like I said, this is a team effort. Being in the military, I'll tell you, there is nothing that you can do alone. Everything involves a team from the start of something to the very end. And even just right now through this election, I need people to help me out now. And hopefully if I get elected, I'm going to need people to help me out then to give me some good decision-making, some advice, and just general knowledge about how we can improve the lives of Hercules residents. I have several different social media platforms. I have my regular Facebook page, which is Alexander Walker Griffin. I have my general website, Alexander4Hercules, a Twitter, and last but not least, at the very bottom, I have a donation link, and I have an Instagram. If you want to know more about me, you can just always reach out to me at any time. I will get back to you, if not at that exact moment. But like I said, you know, this is going to take a little bit of effort because I am running against two incumbents, but I really do believe that we are in a position right now to make a lot of change. People all over the nation are looking towards local government to be the beacon and sort of the lighthouse of change, considering that we have a man and several people in Washington, D.C. right now in the White House that are running this nation down to the ground. And the more people look towards government to help them out, especially on the local level, the more we can improve lives. I care about this city because it is my hometown. And at the same time, you know, I know that most of our day-to-day lives are affected by local and state policies. And I've been in Hercules for some years, and I've been volunteering. I started my own waterfront cleanup when I was 17, and I currently sit on the Hercules Education Foundation with Sarah Creeley. And so I know some of the issues in Hercules, and I know that there's going to be new challenges that are to come. And with COVID, it's kind of fluctuating. You know, we don't necessarily know what 6 months from now is going to look like, or even the next year. And I think that with a new set of eyes and a new set of energy that has been through Hercules in so many different stages of their life and in the city's time, I think that we can bring some necessary and needed change. And with that, thank you for my long spiel. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Perhaps it was the PowerPoint, I don't know. But thank you, everyone, and I'm open for questions.